Good evening, everyone. I'm Jerry D'Ambrosio, and it's my pleasure to bring to you this week's special presentation. VectorVest provides explicit market timing signals for all types of traders and investors. We have fast signals like the primary wave or the green light buyer for the more aggressive trader, and slower signals for the more conservative investor like the DEW and the confirm calls. A signal, however, doesn't mean that you act the very next day unless the market is continuing to move in your direction after 10 a.m. Eastern Time. So for a bullish signal, you're looking for confirmation the following day, all the major indices up, the market up, the stock that you're interested in buying up as well. If you have a bearish signal and you're considering taking a short position, you want all the major indices to be lower after 10 a.m., continuing to move lower. You want the stock that you're interested in shorting, because remember it is a bearish signal, you want that stock to be falling as well after 10 a.m. So it is about patience, and tonight I'm going to demonstrate what exactly follow-through looks like in real time. But first, I'm going to take us back a couple of days. The hard right edge here, this is the market timing graph. Hard right edge is May 26th. That was last Friday. So you can see the market rallied nicely on Friday, retraced from this $54.92 support zone. I talked last week as well in the daily color guard report that this formation here, this two-bar formation, is called a one white soldier. It's a very reliable two-bar bullish candlestick reversal signal. Now, not everyone will take this signal or act on this signal. It is a retracement off of support. It is a bullish candlestick reversal signal, so it's more of a technical signal. The more conservative or prudent investors might not take that signal or even pay attention to that signal. But if you're more of an aggressive trader, that's a signal that you may act on. Now, what we have to do, we don't take positions that day. We wait for follow-through. We always talk about follow-through. So I'm just going to fast forward here to the next day, May 30th. You can see that clearly the market didn't close above the close of the 26th, nor did it close above the high of the 26th. But it did open higher right out of the gate on May 30th. And you can see it did run a little bit higher for the first few minutes there. So the question becomes, did we have follow through at 10 o'clock in the morning? Was the VVC above not only the previous day's close, the close of the 26th, because that is your confirmation level, or the high? So I'm going to take us back to both of those days. The horizontal line that I drew here is the close of the 26th. You can see, actually let me move us to 1 minute bars. You can see that on the 30th, we saw this on the end of day graph, that the market did open higher than the close of the 26th. It ran for a few minutes before it reached a session high at about 9:35 in the morning. The VVC began to fall, right? It began to fall. It remained above the close of the 26th for the first half hour or so. It did just kind of settle into the close right there and then began to move a little bit off of it. And now this was after 10 o'clock in the morning, about 10:15 or 10:20 or so. So after 10 o'clock in the morning, the VVC was above the previous day's close. However, it did not eclipse the high of the session. No follow through. Even though you saw the VVC running a little bit there at about 10 o'clock, again, above the close of the previous day, it did not eclipse the high of the session. I'm going to add an indicator to the bottom of the chart. Some of you may be familiar with this indicator. It's called the DTI, the Derby Timing Indicator. It is an intraday market timing indicator. It basically looks at the number of, or the percentage of winning bullish searches compared to the percentage of winning bearish searches in the Derby. These two indicators are on a 0 to 2 scale. Above 1 is good, below 1 is bad. So at this time, 10:17 in the morning on May 30th, after 10 o'clock, when you see the VVC running away and pulling higher off of the close of the previous day. However, the bearish indicator was at 1.32, and the bullish indicator was at 0.80. What does that tell me about the sentiment still at about 10:20 in the morning? It tells me that it's still bearish. Even though you're seeing a little rally here after 10 o'clock in the morning, moving away from the close of the previous day. Remember, that's pretty much your confirmation level. You could use the high of the previous day, the close of the previous day, just depending on your tolerance for risk. We never eclipsed the high of the session on May 30th. We did run a little bit away from the close there at about 10:20. But this indicator right here, or these two indicators, the DTI indicator, we use it a lot in the Jockey Club. Again, it's an intraday market timing signal. Not only was the bearish indicator at 1.32 and the bullish indicator at 0.80, so you know right there you're in more of a bearish environment. But I'm going to change our market timing signals down here to the DTI combo. Remember I was talking about explicit market timing signals? This is an explicit market timing signal, just like the DEW or the confirm call or the green light buyer. So let me zoom in here. As you can see, as of 10:20 or so a.m., we were in a DTI combo down situation. DTI combo down situation. Bearish DTI indicator was well above 1, bullish indicator well below 1. No follow through. No follow through. So there's a couple of different layers here that you have to pay attention to the next day. Is the VVC moving higher away from your confirmation level? Again, it could either be the close of the previous day or the high of the previous day, depending on your tolerance for risk. Has to at least be the close. That is the minimum level at which you would look to take long positions. Remember, because we had a bullish one white soldier on the 26th, so the following day, if the market moved higher, we would consider taking long positions. We did not get follow through on May 30th. Even though you may be looking just solely at the VVC and saying, well, the VVC was moving higher away from the previous day's close after 10 o'clock, why couldn't I have taken positions? This is why you shouldn't have taken positions. DTI was bearish. We were still off of the high of the session. And the DTI combo, again, signal there, was bearish. Fast forward and just kind of move throughout the day. There was no follow through at all on May 30th. Okay, and in fact, on the very next day, the market sold off sharply again on May 31st. If I go back to add parameter, technical analysis, support and resistance, touched or retested that 54.92 support zone once again. And then what did we see yesterday? Thursday, June 1st. So another strong rally. Another one white soldier. Not only that, but we actually got a RT kicker combo bullish signal on that day. Again, yesterday, June 1st. So you know a little bit now, and remember, with the VectorVest real-time program, we only have 5 days worth of intraday data. So I can really only go through this over the last 5 days. Luckily, there was some type of a bullish signal. Again, not a VectorVest market timing signal, but a bullish candlestick reversal signal that some traders may look to take. Luckily, we have that data so that we could have looked, or we did look there on May 30th. We saw, looking at a few different things, that there was no confirmation of that one white soldier. So where does that leave us today? All right, so I'm going to go back to the home page, and you can see what the major indices are doing today. They're all up. The VVC up almost 61 cents. There's the green light buyer RT kicker signal on June 1st, just yesterday. The question becomes, do we have follow through today? And I tried to time this correctly, where at 10 o'clock in the morning, we will together assess whether we have confirmation or not. And I wanted to do it in real time. And you can see at the bottom right there, it's 9:40. So it is still a little early. But in a few minutes, we are going to determine, using the same exercise that I went through just from the market timing graph a couple of days ago, do we have follow through today or not? So let's set it up today. I'm going to go into graphs. I'm going to go to a one-day chart. There's the VectorVest composite today. Again, it's only 9:40, so it's a little early. I'm going to put our DTI layout on, and I'm going to put our DTI combo market timing signal on. Now, As of 9:35 in the morning today, June 2nd, Friday, we have a DTI combo bullish signal. The DTI bullish indicator is at 1.47 currently. It's at bearish indicator 0.39 currently. So major indices are up. And by the way, what you want to do before the market even opens, check the futures. That'll give you a good idea about where the market is likely going to open. Is it going to open higher? Is it going to open lower? Are the futures mixed? Maybe the VVC will open flat. So you always want to check the futures in the morning as well. 9 o'clock, 9:15 a.m. Closer to the open, the better. Futures were up sharply this morning. I began this session here after the markets opened. But you want to check the futures before the market opens. After the market opens, is the market continuing to move in your direction? What's that? What direction is that? Well, it's up, right? Because the previous day, we had a bullish signal. We were looking to take long positions today. If I go into the views, good news yesterday sparked the rally. News that the House passed a debt ceiling bill boosted sentiment. What's our guidance? One green light, up-down situation. Prudent investors may buy stocks long if the market is rising, and if you're aggressive, play the market with a bias to the upside. So what does it mean by if the market's rising? That's why we're here today. So let's determine that. What does that actually mean that the market's rising? Well, it's rising now. It's 9:42. We're just off of the high of the session. Not quite 10 o'clock yet, but so far so good. And so with the power of time lapse and a little bit of editing, we find ourselves right at about 10 o'clock in the morning. So while we had a great start to the session, do we currently at 10 o'clock in the morning have follow through? So let's take a look at the pieces. Well, first off, is the VVC higher than yesterday's close? It is. This horizontal line here is yesterday's close. Is the market right now moving higher? Remember, this is the time where we're going to look to take a trade or enter into a long position. Dr. DeLito wrote in his essay on July 29th of 2011, the essay was titled Follow Through. Dr. DeLito said, the market must be moving up at the very moment you place a bullish trade. At the very moment you place a bullish trade, and it must be moving down at the very moment that you place a bearish trade. So is the market moving higher right now after 10 o'clock in the morning? Is it moving up in the direction that we want it to? I would say no, not at the moment. Well, first off, you can see the DTI indicators. Again, great start to the session. You got a bullish signal right out of the gate. You might have been itching to take a position or two early on, maybe to make up for some losses. You might have had a cluster of losing trades and you really need a win. You might get a little impatient. Remember the title of the presentation, right? The Art of Patience. Patience obviously paid off here quite a bit, right? So stay patient. Don't need to jump the gun right out of the gate. Let the dust settle. First half hour, otherwise known as amateur hour, you want to let the dust settle and then really get a feel for the direction of the market after 10 o'clock. It's now 10:04, and it does appear now. Again, I wanted to do this as close to real time as possible so I could talk you guys through what follow through looks like. It is rising over the last couple of minutes. DTI bullish indicator is at 1.14. However, the bearish indicator is also above 1 at 1.02. That doesn't make me feel great about today's sentiment. And we currently have a neutral DTI combo signal. And we are also off of the high of the session. So as of right now, 10:04 a.m. Eastern Time on Friday, June 2nd, the day after a green light buyer RT kicker combo up signal, we do not have follow through. We do not have market follow through. Now that doesn't mean that in a half hour from now or an hour from now, we'll break away from the high of the session. We'll get a DTI bullish combo signal and you could take long positions. Just not the case right now. The same exercise, the same thing applies on the stock level. We're looking at the market level right now. The same thing applies on the stock level. However, we don't have the DTI indicator. It is a market timing indicator. We don't have that indicator on individual stock graphs, but the same thing applies. Let's take NVIDIA, for example. First off, let's look at the last year. We all know what NVIDIA's been doing. Up day yesterday. Maybe you wanted to take a long position today if not only we get market follow through, but stock follow through as well. This horizontal line is yesterday's close. So let's look at a one-day chart. Right now, is the price of NVIDIA above the close of the previous day? It is not. So you do not have stock follow through, even though we are rising off of the lows currently. We are still below the close of the previous day. We do not have stock follow through. Going back to the market timing graph, still 10:06 a.m. I'm not quite seeing follow through yet, even though the last 5 minutes or so a little encouraging. Still in a DTI combo neutral signal, and we're still off of the high of the session. Nice thing here is though is the VVC is still above the close of the previous day. So encouraged a little bit, hopeful, still not throwing in the towel. We have to kind of take things minute by minute here just to see if at any point today we'll get market follow through. Now the DTI is an indicator native to the Derby. I am inviting you folks, I really want you guys to try out not only the Derby, our real-time program if you don't already have it. If you're using our end-of-day version or our intraday version, we'd like to extend an offer to try out our real-time program and the VectorVest Derby. I'd like you guys to try out that DTI indicator. It saves a lot of time and a lot of confusion about whether you get follow through the next day or not. There's always that indecision, or do we have follow through or not? The DTI combo indicator really clears up that confusion. At any point here today, if we get a bullish signal and we move above the high of today, that is confirmation of yesterday's green light buyer RT kicker combo signal. You will see a link in today's views for a trial to the real-time program and the Derby. We invite you to try it out for 30 days and test these indicators on an intraday basis here moving forward. Well, thank you, folks. Hope you enjoyed today's special presentation. Learned a little bit about what follow-through actually looks like so that it will make your lives a lot easier on a day-to-day basis. Anytime you get a bullish signal or a bearish signal, you'll know exactly what to look for. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you next time.